Most agents treat real estate like a sprint, burning out before they ever hit their stride. But the top performers, they play the long game. See, success isn't about cramming more into your day. It's about mastering the right moves, from building a rock-solid database to owning every phone call with confidence. Today, we're breaking down the habits that actually drive results. Look, if you're feeling tired of feeling stuck, scattered, or second-guessing your next step, this episode is your blueprint. Let's get into it. Okay, Wei, let's get right into it.
If I'm starting a database from scratch in 2025, what's the first step I should take?
Well, first things first is make sure that you have a CRM, a customer relationship management software. Now, doing this in an Excel sheet and leaving it there is not what you can do in 2025. We can start putting our names and numbers into the CSV Excel sheet so then you can upload it into the CRM, but it needs to be in the CRM. Why? Because your job's going to be so much easier because we can automate emails. We can automate follow-ups. And I know that word is not the favorite word of a lot of salespeople, but following up is a must or you will fall out of business in 2025. Now, another thing is that if you're starting out from scratch, the first place I would recommend you get started, depending on which geographical area you're in, take a look at your cell phone. If you're an Apple user, you can just upload all your contacts into iCloud. My Android friends figure it out, YouTube it, get that into the CSV. Then second, what you want to do is take a look at your email inbox. You can also upload all the emails from there as well. And then you want to look at your socials. See, for me, the name of the game from a social media perspective with followers and the community that you're building online, you got to get it offline. Offline for this conversation means put them into your CRM and then allow for the automation to take over, meaning sending an email every other week, bare minimum, if not even weekly, invites to exclusive events, which are educational, in person, or on webinars. And then you want to set up the CRM to automatically tell you to follow up with everyone in that list, the CRM, every 4 months. So this way you're reaching out to people 3 times a year. Now you got to look at my past videos at some point. It's not a shameless plug, but I give you guys the scripts. I give you the way to make those 3 calls without being salesy and actually providing value. But if you guys want more and you don't want to go back, just comment on this video and say, please send me your nurturing scripts and I'll get that over to you. Wei, what's next, brother?
I'm new to the real estate business. It's difficult to manage my time between prospecting, showing, and my social life. What's your advice? Well,
number 1 is time blocking. We all have shit to do in our personal life, and then we have a bunch of activities that we need to do in our business life. Now, from a business perspective, I think the number 1 activity is generating new business. Otherwise, there's not going to have any clients to work with. But what I like to do from a time blocking perspective is I like to put my personal life tasks, activities, things that I know I need to do, i.e. I need to make sure that I work out, do something for my health. I need to make sure that I spend time with my wife, my kids, my parents, my siblings, and certain friends that I like to get together at certain times with throughout the year. And so I put what I call those big rocks in my calendar first, because those are specifically like my making sure I'm doing something for my health, and then spending time with my wife and kids and parents as non-negotiables, right? And so the way that it works for me, now this is just an example, make sure that you sit down with your significant other. If you're not with anyone, then you got to make sure that you set up operations, hours of operation for your business based on what you need to do from a personal perspective first. So for me, Fridays at around 5 o'clock, I'm done. I shut off to the world, and that now is my personal time with my kids and family, all the way up until about Sunday around 10:30, 11 a.m. I get back into the office because I like to kind of just be alone on those days. Sometimes, I'll bring in a team member, maybe a videographer to shoot some content. But from Friday around 5 to about Sunday at around 10:30, 11, I'm shut off to the world. There is no business to be done. If there's something of like real true 911 emergency in business, I'll take care of it. But then after all my personal stuff is blocked off, hence the word time blocking, then I go into, okay, what's the most important activity in business? As I mentioned earlier, you got to make sure that we prospect, we generate business, whatever you want to call it, lead generation time. Now, for me, I'm at a place now, I've been doing this for 21 years in the real estate, for my real estate organization, and then for my new coaching academy, new meaning like the last couple of years, I've been making sure that I'm prospecting 5, 6, 7 hours a day, right? Now, if you're new, you can't do that, okay? It's just, you don't have enough contacts. There's not enough people to go to reach out to. You also need to do the other activities in your business. So the way that I look at this is there's sales and marketing / servicing. So sales and then marketing. Sales and then servicing. It's another term that you might hear out there is working on the business, working in the business. Working on the business is sales and marketing, working in the business is servicing. Now, what I like to do and what I coach on is blocking off, because for most people, prospecting's the activity that they just don't want to do, for whatever reason, is I want to do that as early as I possibly can in the day so I get momentum, and then I also know that there's people to service. So I'm going to set a block of time first thing in the morning, 9 to about noon, because it's hard to call people before 9 a.m. And for 3 hours, I am going to be prospecting. Now, within the prospecting bucket, there's making phone calls, there's setting up the educational events, there's creating content. And then in the later part of the day, after 12:30, 1, whenever you finish lunch, all the way until the evening is when I'll get back to people's emails. That's when I'll do my showings. That's when I would suggest that you do your home inspections. Now you gotta be as dedicated as possible, meaning leave a little room for flexibility. But you will be surprised if a client calls you and says, I need to see a house at 10 a.m. And it generally doesn't start with, I need to see the house. It's like, hey, I would like to see the house at 10 a.m. If you tell them you have an appointment at 10 a.m., which you're not lying, you have an appointment with your business, and say, hey, how is 1 p.m. or 4 p.m.? What's better for you? 95% of the time, not 100% of the time, 95% of the time, they're going to be like, you know what? 4 p.m. is okay as well. See, what you're doing is, just like any other true, real business, it has hours of operation. And so that's what I want you to start setting up, which will help you specifically as a new agent, making sure that you don't get overwhelmed and you don't do the most important part, which is generating business. Wei, what's next?
How can I sound more confident on my phone calls?
Look, I think confidence, unfortunately, comes after experience. It's shit backwards, meaning that I wish you could just get the confidence first, buy it from Walmart or something, and then you can go on and do the tasks. But unfortunately, life just doesn't work like that. You get confident when you upgrade your skills. So if you're someone who's not confident in making phone calls, the best way to get over that is upgrade that skill. Start role playing. Okay? I'm not even here to just say like go right into the deep end and then just start making phone calls, because I know that might be tough for 99% of the people. I think my top 1%ers that are kind of in my environment, they're okay to just be thrown in the deep end as long as there's a lifesaver. Side note, generally I'm the lifesaver in those conversations. However, if you're like 99% of the people, you need to crawl before you walk and walk before you run. And some of you, especially the ones that have kids, you know this, that even before crawling is tummy time. So what's the tummy time in this context, in this scenario? Well, it's role playing. Get with someone, a coach, someone in your office, someone in your home. Fuck, if you don't have anyone, at bare minimum, start role playing in the mirror. And you will over time get confident. Now, you're not going to be, if 0 being like you suck at it, 10 being like you've mastered it, you're not going to be even at an 8 when you get started. The process that I would want you to trust is, if you're at a 0, can we just move the needle to a 1 out of 10 and slowly but surely start to get better? What I do in my clinics when I bring people, real estate agents / mortgage brokers / loan officers into my office, what we do is we role play, and we do it for 2 hours. And it sucks for most people because it's so uncomfortable. But I've just come to learn that all the growth that you're looking for in your business and your life comes when you just step outside your comfort zone. Wait, what's next, buddy?
Okay, so what's your daily routine to stay productive?
For me, I get up really early, which essentially is a different way of saying that I get to sleep pretty early as well. I've been through all the times of going to sleep at midnight and 1 a.m. I just didn't find that I was as productive, and so I try to get myself to bed around 10 to 10:30, and this way I'm up pretty early at around anywhere from about 5:15 to 5:30. For the last 6 months, 7 months, I've been trying to get in 25, 30 minutes of just some movement. That might mean just some body weight. That might mean some stretching. That might mean picking up some weights. It might just be walking, just getting the blood flowing as quickly as possible. Now, this stuff works for me, guys. You always got to be as self-aware as possible and figure out how, you're going to get better and get more productive. But I like to be in the office really early in the morning. It's either the office / studio that I like to get in somewhere around 7:30-ish. My drive is around 45 minutes into the office / studio area. And so from about 7:30 to about 12:30, I'm like prospecting, like crazy. I am reaching out to as many people as I possibly can, starting off with my warm list, meaning people that are in my CRM and people that are following me in my social media, so my community. And then I do cold outreach as well. Like, I reach out to brokerages to do trainings. I reach out to event organizers to do speaking engagements. I'm not leaving any fucking stone unturned. Let me just emphasize that again for everyone. In terms of being productive, like, I don't need to be motivated. In all honesty, I'm inspired as fuck right now because my why is so strong. My why, in terms of why I'm doing this meaning life, what my purpose is so strong that I'm being pulled. See, motivation for me is more of a push kind of a process where you have to keep yourself. It's like bathing, right? It's recommended daily, but it's hard to be motivated every single day. That's why I always like to coach people on finding their why, finding their purpose, because you will be pulled towards something way bigger than you ever thought imaginable. And that is what keeps me productive every day. I got 2 little boys, a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old, and there is no fucking way in hell they're ever gonna think, even remotely think, there was another man that worked harder than their father. Fuck with my why now. So when people say, no, I can handle rejection pretty easy, I don't give a shit, because I know some will, some won't. So what? Someone is waiting. So I'm being pulled every single day. I recommend that you write down what your why is, paste it on the mirror in the bathroom, and look at that shit a couple of times a day. A couple of times, hopefully you're in there anyways, brushing your teeth. And so you're reminded of it. So when things get hard, which they will, and you have to face obstacles, you're not thinking, oh my God, woe is me. It's, well, am I going to go to the left of this obstacle, the right, above it, below it, or am I just going to run fucking through it? And so that's how you get truly productive from my perspective.
How do you handle failures in business and turn it into growth?
Look, I mean, for me, I'm not afraid to fail. In fact, I know that majority of the growth that I've experienced in both business and in life came from my failures. I don't know if it's a Canadian thing or it's an American thing, like where I just feel like when I meet my colleagues and brothers and sisters on the state side, they just try so much more shit. You know, like they're okay to fail. We're here in Canada. I feel like we're so afraid to fail. And so then there's really no growth. All the growth in your business and life in terms of your bank account, the amount of people that you can leave a ripple effect with, your network, all of that, it comes from stepping outside your comfort zone. The reason you're still getting the results that you're getting is because you're comfortable, right? And so what you want to consistently do is get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Let me say that again, because I don't want it to just sound like it was a play on words. The place that you want to get to for the most growth in your life and in your business is to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because then you're always pushing the limits for yourself. You're always trying to find a new way of doing things. You're always trying to find more people to touch. You're always finding new ways of generating business. And when it comes down to doing content, when it comes down to making phone calls, when it comes down to speaking in front of a group at events, when it comes to reaching out to just like random people, like your Uber driver, and asking them to follow you on social media, or maybe the barista at Starbucks, I get it. It's all uncomfortable. But see, when you get yourself to a place where I feel like I'm at, I'm quite comfortable being uncomfortable, because I also know I'm just not everyone's cup of tea. I'm not gonna be able to inspire all 8 billion people on earth. I want to, but I kind of know, like, okay, like not everyone's gonna fuck with me. You know what I mean? So what I would recommend is just consistently, when you're feeling that feeling of being uncomfortable, smile and say, oh, this is how I'm gonna grow now. And then you'll notice the more that you do it, you'll get more comfortable. Now wait, what you have to do though is push yourself outside your comfort zone. Is that it, Wade, for today?
That's it.
And what episode was this, my friend?
It's episode 285.
All right. Thanks for listening and watching to episode 285 of the Jazz Takhar podcast. To get your questions answered, all you got to do is go to meetjazztakhar.com/podcast. That's meetjazztakhar.com/podcast. And if you're new to our community on Spotify or on YouTube, give your boy a follow if it was valuable. I look forward to seeing you next week. Have the best week ever.